Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Before we begin, I should warn you that some of you may find what you are about to hear rather disturbing.
It's that time of year again. Halloween is just around the corner, and what better way to get into the spooky season than by taking a trip on the Dublin Ghost Tour. Dan, the Dublin Ghost Tour is the oldest and one of the most scariest tours that you can possibly take in the entire world.
Well, that's what we expect our tourists to experience. For instance, our tour was designed not just as a bus, but a mobile theatre. And we take the people not just through the city, but through the stories, through the spectral apparitions that are reported having appeared here, there, and everywhere about the city.
What's the experience actually like as well? I mean, do you stay on the bus? Do you go anywhere?
Well, yes, of course. We have 2 outdoor visits, and these are features of our tour, and certainly something that people talk about an awful lot. For instance, we take people into one of the great hidden treasures of nighttime Dublin. It's a hidden graveyard, and we take them through the graveyard and tell them strange stories, true stories, about things that happen to real people, like, for instance, the story of the hanged bishop, Dermot Hurley. And then, of course, we have the pièce de résistance, where we reenact the ancient craft, the secret craft, of stealing a body from the grave.
Oh my God. And we're here now at the 40 steps, the haunted steps.
This is the most haunted place in Dublin, and it's a place that very few Dubliners know about, so it's a treat for them too. We take them to the medieval part of the city, where we have the keys to the old black iron gates. Now, these are the black gates of the ancient medieval city.
Right.
And I'm going to give you an experience which is very unique. It only happens on the Ghost Bus Tour. You're going to get to open the ancient gates.
Wow.
Remember, nobody else gets to do this but you.
Ooh, privileged. Okay. So I just open it like this?
Yeah.
Push.
In you go.
Wow.
Step inside. And this place, Olive, is filled with legends. These very walls, these steps, if they could talk, they would tell you the stories. And I'll get to a story in a moment. But not alone that. Sometimes we've people experience what you might call the paranormal.
What do you mean by that?
Well, you see, we invite people to bring their cameras. But when that happens, things kind of go out of our control.
Okay, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, pictures are taken of the 40 steps up there. And when the photos come out, things appear there that are not now visible to the naked eye. But the most common apparition up there is an apparition seen by small boys and girls to this day of a green lady. And we've done a lot of research on this, and we believe we know the story behind the green lady.
Which is?
Well, firstly, we believe that she's the spirit of a remarkable woman called Darky Kelly. Darky Kelly was a madame of a house of ill repute. The name of the house, by the way, was called the Maiden Tower. Yeah. But she was accused of killing her own child.
Right.
Believe it or not, this is a very interesting story because it involves politics, high politics in Dublin at the period. But it ends with a vision of her not having killed her child, but in fact having handed it into the safety of the church gate through here.
Right.
And if we were to follow the light over further still, you would see a blocked up, bricked up archway.
Yeah.
This was actually the subway tunnel up to Christ Church.
Right.
This was the real original place called Hell. And down through the steps of that tunnel, Darky Kelly came one night, in fear of certain people. Now, I can't tell you too much.
Right, okay.
You gotta take the
tour. The 40 steps, they really have such an impact because it's real stories, and I think that's what makes it even more creepy.
That's right. Not only do we talk about ancient things, we also talk about the present and the experiences people feel today. For instance, sometimes people come up here at night and they say they don't feel like they're alone. Maybe they're not.
Oh, God.
Follow me.
Okay.
Along these steps that you're now walking, you may think of it as walking in the footsteps of the old Dublin lepers who had come from the leper colony. The leper colony was in Missouri, which still exists to this very day. But the question really is, Olive, where did the medical schools get their bodies? Well, we're now at the heart of the body snatching centre of Dublin.
Oh, God.
Listen to this sound, Olive. Listen. Olive, do you know what that sound is?
Painful.
That's the sound of 400 years of spooks.
No, God.
Follow me. You see, Olive, the art of the body snatcher was a very special one. They had to find what they call a fresh grave. That means a grave with soft clay.
Oh, God.
Soft clay means fresh corpse. Not fresh enough. Let's go forth.
Okay. All this talk of ghosts and ghouls, and I know that there is a little bit of fun to be had with it, but, you know, are they real?
Well, for many people, yes, they are real. I mean, take, for instance, where we're coming into now. This is a medieval church, the ruins of a medieval church. And in this very place, secret mass was said back in the time of King Henry VIII, during the time of the religious persecutions. Secret mass was said by a bishop, Bishop Dermot Hurley, who was soon to be elevated, hopefully, to the rank of saint.
Right.
He was found here saying secret mass. He was taken to Dublin Castle, where he was given the torture of the boots.
And what's that?
Well, essentially, the torture of the boots was where his feet were placed into two tins, very much like boots, and then filled with oil and held over a fire.
Oh, God.
And they asked him to renounce his faith, but he wouldn't. And as a consequence, he was then hanged in Stephen's Green in a very bizarre way. And then his bones were taken back here to this church, and they were laid out in various parts of the church, so nobody would know exactly where the complete body was.
Really?
This was so as to stop people from coming to pay pilgrimage to him.
Really?
And his ghost appeared, in fact, right over there.
Dan, I have to say, I've really enjoyed the tour, and I imagine everybody at home as well is going to want to know more information about it. How often is it running?
Well, it's running, you'll be happy to know, 7 nights a week.
Of course.
Monday to Thursday, 8 p.m., starting in O'Connell Street. But then again, you might like to go on a Friday or a Saturday or Sunday. We have 2 tours, 7 o'clock and 9:30.
Ooh.
Far more spooky.
I've absolutely loved the tour and all the screams along the way, but I have to say, you really do feel like there's something following you from the shadows the whole night through. But I'm sure that's just my imagination.
I'm sure it is, Olive. I'm sure it is.
Well, as you can see, I did manage to make it home in one piece, and my thanks to Dan for that fantastic tour. I highly recommend it, and to find out more information you can log on to dublinsightseeing.ie. Now we're going to take a quick break. Still to come, we'll be taking a look at National Game Playing Week with play therapist Kate Smith. See you in part 2.